Commissioner Look,
Here.
Commissioner Brastad,
Here.
Commissioner Reinert,
Here.
Commissioner Schulte,
Here.
Commissioner Gamache,
Here.
Commissioner Jepson,
Here.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here. So for the next item, I will turn it over to County Attorney Johnson.
Members of the County Board, item 4 on the agenda today is to consider discussing and potentially adopting a procedure for this organizational meeting to elect the chair of the Anoka County Board of Commissioners and any other officers. Therefore, the first order of business is to nominate and elect a county board chair to preside over the rest of the organizational meeting and all future meetings of the Anoka County Board of Commissioners in 2023. In keeping with the open meeting law, there is a procedure that our office has recommended to the county board, and I'd like to summarize that for you all as follows. As to nominations, the county administrator, consulting where appropriate with the county attorney, will preside over the meeting to solicit nominations and the election for chair before then turning the meeting over to the newly elected board chair. The county administrator will call for nominations for chair. Any commissioner may orally nominate any other commissioner or themselves by saying, I nominate Commissioner name or myself to be this year's chair of the Anoka County Board. Nominations do not require a second, but it is not out of order for a second to be offered to signal an endorsement. Once nominated, the commissioner will be on the list of potential candidates for chair of the county board. There will be no discussion about nominations. The county administrator will close nominations after no more nominations are offered or made. The county administrator and county attorney will keep track of the order of nominations. After each candidate is nominated, the county administrator will make a separate inquiry as to whether the candidate first accepts the nomination and second is willing and able to fulfill the responsibilities of chair. As to the election, the county administrator will preside over the election pertaining to commissioners nominated to be chair. The newly elected chair will then follow the same procedure used to elect the chair or vice chair for other offices. If there is more than one commissioner nominated to be chair, the order of first nomination shall determine the order in which the various candidates are considered. If the county administrator and county attorney are unable to determine in whole or part the order for nominations, in other words, that there's a tie among nominating parties, then the seniority of the nominated commissioner by years of service on the county board shall determine the order in which those candidates are first considered. Beginning with the first candidate, the county administrator will call for a roll call vote. Election to chair requires a majority vote. A tie vote is a failed vote. In other words, for example, 3 for, 3 against with 1 abstention or similar outcome, that would be a failed vote. If any commissioner nominated receives a majority vote for chair, the election will be deemed to have occurred. The chair selected, and no further votes will be had on other nominated commissioners. Any remaining nominations will be considered moot at that time. Only if there is an impasse where all nominated candidates fail to be elected would we advise having a discussion about the election of the board chair. All nominated candidates for chair remain nominated, but any candidate may wish to withdraw at that point their candidacy. In the event of an impasse, the county administrator will ask, does any nominee wish to withdraw as a candidate for board chair? Thereafter, in an attempt to overcome any impasse, we recommend that a commissioner make a motion requiring a second from another commissioner to allow discussion and statements in support of candidates to overcome the impasse. The motion may also include reopening nominations to call for additional candidates, should that become necessary. Any such motion would require a majority vote, and once passed, then the county administrator would follow the same procedure to again solicit any additional nominations, if that is part of the motion. And then before moving to the election, there would be a discussion or statements by any of the commissioners. We recommend limiting discussion or statements to 2 minutes per commissioner, and the county administrator and county attorney will keep time and notify each commissioner when they hit the 2-minute mark. Robert's rules and other sources caution against lengthy discussion or statements in such elections to maintain proper decorum, civility, and efficiency. If this is the wish of the county board to adopt a procedure along these lines, I would invite any commissioner to make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Commissioner Reinert.
Yeah, so originally to put a policy like this in place, you know, I did send out some emails on this. I would have liked to have had a little bit more, I guess, learning of what other counties do. We did receive this recommendation on Friday before a holiday weekend, New Year's holiday. And so didn't really give us a lot of time to look into this or to study this or to see, you know, what other ways to do this. I did have a little objection to how this was laid out at first, but then you and I did talk. And the nuances of how things would end up one way or another didn't make much difference. I guess I would, though, throughout this year, maybe at a work session, maybe have a conversation, take a look at how other counties do it, just so in retrospect we can make sure that it was done right. But for today's work that we need to do on this, you know, I accept the process that's in front of us.
Commissioner Schulte.
County Attorney, thank you. This, to me, is codifying what we do. This is what we've done in years past. This is just putting the policy in place, the procedure in place to say, this is how we do it. So I don't see a change from what we've done in the past. I think this is it. I think it's just laying it out in writing, and I'm all for codifying it.
Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of Commissioner Reinert's comments in an email, the only thing that I don't really have a problem, but I would just open it up to the order of which we vote in terms of, right, first nomination, second nomination. If there's more than one, maybe it's a flip of the coin. If there's three, you draw straws, something of that nature. But that really is my only question to us, if we're open to doing something like that.
Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Schulte.
My only comment to that, Commissioner Meisner, is this is the way in every organization I've ever been a part of. The first nomination gets voted on first. I'm not sure if it's in Robert's Rules of Order that way. It probably is, or the Attorney's Office probably wouldn't have recommended that, but it is how they've done it in every organization I've been a part of.
Oh, just,
Commissioner Meisner.
thank you. Just follow-up question. No, I do understand that. I guess for me, I'm just thinking, obviously, somebody's going to have to pick who is going to be accepted first. So just to try to neutralize and kind of, in all fairness and objectivity, doing something else where, again, it's not up to a person to decide who gets to go in order first, if that makes sense. But I hear you. I'm alone in that, and that is fine. Then I also accept if my colleagues do as well.
Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, there's a motion to adopt the procedure recommended by the county attorney for the election of board chair. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries, and I'll now turn the meeting over to County Administrator Severaja.
Thank you, Attorney Johnson. I will now call for nominations for the election of Chair of the Anoka County Board.
Administrator. I would like to nominate our longest-standing commissioner, Commissioner Look, to be the chair for 2023.
Commissioner Look has been nominated. Commissioner Look, do you accept the nomination to serve as chair, and are you willing and able to fulfill the responsibilities of that office?
I do.
Are there any other nominations?
Thank you. I would like to nominate Commissioner Gamache as chair for 2023.
Commissioner Gamache, do you accept the nomination to serve as chair, and are you willing and able to fulfill the responsibilities of that office?
I do.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, the nominations are now closed. We will now turn to the election. The first commissioner nominated is Commissioner Look. We will now call for a roll call vote for the election of Commissioner Look to be the County Board Chair for 2023.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Nay.
Commissioner Jepson.
No.
Commissioner Meisner.
Nay.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes and 3 nays. Congratulations, Commissioner Look. You have been elected as County Board Chair for 2023.
Thank you. We'll go to item number 6, which is election of County Board Vice Chair for program year 2023. I will open up the floor for nominations.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Jeff Reinert for Vice Chair.
Okay. There is a nomination for Commissioner Reinert. Commissioner Reinert, are you able and willing to serve?
Willing and able to serve, and I'll second that.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, I will close nominations for Vice Chair, and we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor of Jeff Reinert for Vice Chair for program year 2023 signify by saying aye.
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 And
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, I think we should have a roll call vote.
Okay. A roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brasted.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Commissioner Reinert.
Thank you.
Item number 7 on our chair's remarks. I just want to say thank you for the great honor to chair the board for year 2023. I want to extend my gratitude to Commissioner Schulte for immediate past chair for your work and service to our county and constituents. I'd also like to extend a gratitude to Commissioner Brasted as an immediate past vice chair for your hard work and service as well. I'd like to also just indicate by way of attendance this morning, we have Coon Rapids Mayor Cook in the audience. Thank you for joining us. And also former Transportation Commissioner El Tinklenberg. Thank you for joining us here as well. We will move on to item number 8, which is consider resolution 2023-1 relating to the establishment of rules and procedures for the Anoka County Board of Commissioners for 2023. You will see those attached. Is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
The resolution's been offered by Commissioner Brasted. Any discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, there's just one item that I just wanted to discuss and then actually make a motion on. That would be in this resolution, number 8. I'll just read it out loud. Anoka County will provide office space for elected officials. County commissioners may utilize an office on the 7th floor of the Anoka County Government Center. Office number 792 on the 7th floor of the Anoka County Government Center shall be designated as the official county board chair's office. Remaining county commissioner designated offices shall be assigned by the incoming chair for 2023 and based on seniority thereafter, except that a commissioner being displaced by the chair shall not displace another commissioner from his or her office. So I know this has been a part of this for every year, and I've always thought that was kind of odd, but I don't know any different. I did do a little research about this, and though I did not talk to all 87 or 86 other counties in the state of Minnesota, I did talk to enough of them, and this is actually very unique to Anoka County, specifically the paragraph stating that the board chair gets essentially the corner office, as well as designating all the other commissioners' office. So I would like to make a motion of actually striking that second paragraph, and that number 8 should just say, Anoka County will provide office space for elected officials. County commissioners may utilize an office on the 7th floor of the Anoka Government Center. And I would also like to say, so for this office, I'm just going to throw this out here as an idea of how we could maybe manage it. At a work session, maybe we could think of it like a VIP parking spot, and the 7 of us can decide whatever that might look like for criteria. But I just don't understand or why it's necessary for the board chair to be dictating that. So I made the motion. Do I need to do anything else? Or?
Well, the resolution's been offered, and I believe it's been
how do I-
seconded, right?
Okay.
Well, there is no
No need
second
to
on
second
it.
a resolution.
So there's basically a motion to adopt the resolution at this point in time. Are you offering a friendly amendment to the language that is in the resolution?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. So that technically is what
So
I should be doing.
If that's the case, then you're offering an amendment to the resolution.
Okay.
You've described the amendment and then you would ask board chair if there is a second for that.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion and a second to modify 8, and let's just have a quick, just a rundown again on what you're looking to change.
Just to drop off the second paragraph, that's all.
So
Where
the,
where it designates that the board chair gets the number 792 and that the board chair decides all other commissioner offices. I think that we could do that together as a board.
yes, Commissioner Reiner.
Yeah, actually, the way it's been described to me is actually not the way that paragraph reads. The way it's been described to me about the offices is that if there's a vacancy, then someone else can fill that vacancy. And it goes by seniority at that point. And so if there's somebody that wants that freshly opened office and there's somebody with more seniority that wants it, well, then they get it instead of the first person. So, and that is not exactly how that reads. So, yeah, I guess I would be in favor of striking that and just kind of go with, kind of the way it's been around here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Mr. Chair, I'm not in favor of the amendment because I think Office 792 should go to the board chair. It's the corner office, equal access for every commissioner to that office to meet with the chair and visit. It's kind of a center point for that reason. Commissioner Reinert's correct in that there's actually only a couple of words in this second clause that's new to how we do things, and that is that the chair may designate offices outside of his own. That's never been a process that I knew of.
Yeah.
I knew the chair got the chair's office, and then all the rest of the offices were designated by seniority. And by seniority, it's tenure on the board. That's the way it's always been. I'm fine with this because I'm sure the chair is going to be reasonable and let the commissioners pick their own offices based on seniority. And at least I'm confident that the current chair would do that. And I'm okay with this policy the way it is. I am not in favor of striking that. If we strike that, then it becomes a whole different process on how you move offices and where you move. And I think it becomes more political than just leaving it the way it is.
Commissioner Reiner.
Yes, I'm pretty indifferent about the corner office topic. There's only one of them, fine, the chair gets it. But as far as roles, responsibilities, and authority of the chair, they seem pretty great already. This is just adding to that. And I don't really see the reason to, add another authority that the chair has, which has to do with where commissioners are going to sit and do their work. So, yeah, I guess I wouldn't be in favor of that. But I mean, the corner office, fine, the chair gets it.
So Reinert, Commissioner Reinert, if I'm understanding your point here, you would be in favor of the first sentence on the second paragraph, but not the second sentence.
Oh, you're going to make me look it up now. I believe that's correct, yeah.
And so, Mr. Chair, to clarify the point, if I may, you would be opposed to the amendment because the amendment strikes the entire second paragraph. And that'll be the next vote we take is on the second paragraph on the amendment only.
Is that correct, Commissioner Meiser?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so I would consider what we are talking about being brought up as an improvement, and I would consider that a compromise. So if we're going to have the second paragraph remaining there, stating that the board chair gets the corner office, I guess then would I retract my original friendly amendment and then?
What I would suggest, since there's a motion that's been made, it's been seconded, there's been discussion, why don't you have a vote on the motion, and then you can make an alternate motion.
Okay.
Or another?
But I do have an alternate correction then.
So you're withdrawing your friendly amendment, and is the seconder withdrawing? Okay,
Yes,
so
I
we're
will.
back to the original motion.
Fair enough.
She could amend her amendment.
Let's just make it cleaner
The
here.
seconder agrees.
Let's make it cleaner. Commissioner Meisner, did you have another friendly amendment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I would like to strike only on the second paragraph then, remaining county commissioner designated offices shall be assigned by the incoming chair for 2023. Based on seniority is fine. Again, I just don't think that's necessary to put in there. Thank you.
So that is the friendly amendment. Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
There's a second by Commissioner Gamache. And just for clarification, the second sentence says the remaining county commissioner designated offices shall be assigned by seniority thereafter.
Yes.
That's your understanding, and that's the understanding of the seconder. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll be voting on the friendly amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The friendly amendment passes. Now we'll go to the item 8, which is modified, and we will take a vote on that. All those in favor of voting for this signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Okay, so we are back to, get back to it here. Item number 8, which we just took a vote on for that, and that passed. We are now on to number 9, which is consider resolution 2023-2 relating to the designation of public meeting notice facility. Is there an offer of that resolution?
Go ahead, I'll offer it.
Okay, the resolution is offered by Commissioner Gamache. Any discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you guys know, for the last couple of years, I've been a huge advocate to allow public commentary at our at our board meetings. That did not get support. So I do want to continue, though, to improve public access for our public meetings. So I would like to, again, make a friendly amendment, I think, to put a third clause. So this would go after the second current one. It is expressed the intent of Anoka County to hold such meetings in an open and public format. And whereas the county board will continue to strive to improve public access methods to all public meetings to include, but not limited to, digital and online platforms. Again, with this pandemic, and I've talked about this multiple times in work sessions, technology is there. I think we can be and should be doing a better job for public access for all of our meetings.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on that amendment. County Attorney Johnson, do you foresee any issues with online as it relates to Minnesota state law?
No, I don't. I mean, if what you're talking about is having a streaming board meeting or a streaming public comment session, there's no barriers to that. Many cities and other counties do it. As to the legal applicability of it, I would say there are some practical ramifications that require sometimes there to be certain rules and limits set on things, and it may be something that the board wants to entertain if it's a change in normal procedure.
Okay, Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, and I know that we talked about it a little bit in the last couple of years, and I think most of the issues have been related to cost. And I think as long as we begin that process in 2023 in our workshops that we're going to have, that we can have some discussion as to how do we get there? How do we pay for it? What needs to be put into place? We have a lot of, different internet devices all across these county buildings, so that a lot of them are in place in certain areas. It might mean that in certain places we can no longer hold committee meetings because we wouldn't have access, but maybe that's something we look at is how we can do some type of remote into some of those. I know as the past chair of the Parks Committee, we move our meetings around to different parks so that the Parks Committee gets a good feel for all of our parks across Anoka County. And in some areas, we might not be able to do that when we have a meeting perhaps in a far north off-site parks building that doesn't necessarily have all of the fancy things, but I think there are things that we could do to look at. So I know it'll be a discussion. I think we should have that during our workshops and then come up with ideas as to how we can put that in place. Our staff is great, and I'm sure they could figure that out. There's going to be a cost to it, so we have to budget for it. But that's kind of been why we haven't done it, I think, or even through the pandemic, we had all our meetings locally centralized here within the building because we have access to all of that. But I think there's a way that we could do it, and I think that would help the public see and hear and understand what we're doing, and it's a good process to have. So I'm all in favor.
Commissioner Meisner.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Gamache. And I know that cost has been an issue every time that I've brought it up, and I certainly understand that. And I'm going to just repeat what I have said in work sessions too. So we have $69 million in ARPA funds. Not all of that is allocated right now. I don't foresee it's going to be that costly, but again, we can figure that out and be creative. The only other thing I would say too is this is 2023. We can be simple about it. This is just about having access for the public. So in my opinion, it doesn't have to be grandiose gestures either for some of the parks committees that you just brought up as an example. I'm sure together we could figure that out in a creative way to get better access for the public. Thank you.
Commissioner Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I absolutely agree with everything Commissioner Meisner and Commissioner Gamache have said. The part where I'm having a hard time is I don't think it belongs in this resolution, however. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, this resolution specifically talks about notifying the public about public meetings. So I think your comments and your additions are absolutely valid. I just don't think it belongs in here.
Okay. Commissioner Brasted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to say the same thing. I think this is a matter that we should discuss at our workshops. And it's not just costs, but we have so many committee meetings. I mean, 20 plus just county committees that meet. The big problem has always been staff to be able to run the streaming, run the IT. And we can be all over the county with multiple meetings going on. And so does it make sense? I mean, all of our meetings are open to the public. The public can come to every single meeting, board meetings. All of our committee meetings have public comment. It's very easy to get a hold of your county commissioner and share your thoughts, ideas, text, emails, phone calls. It's never been a barrier, but I think that is just trying to pass something and say, this is what we're going to do. We have a lot of things logistically that would need to have to be worked out through that.
Commissioner Reiner.
Just a question, I guess, point of order for the county attorney, and that is, this is a statutory and organizational meeting, and so ideas as far as this and maybe others, if they're not on the agenda, can they be moved as a separate item?
Sure, they could be moved if there's a second in connection with this, but they have to relate to what's on the agenda. So it can't be a new piece of business.
Well, it being a statutory and organizational meeting for, our upcoming year, isn't all things having to do with how we're going to do business over the next year kind of on this topic?
Commissioner Meiser.
Commissioner Meisner.
I'm sorry, are you done? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I didn't know if the question was directed at me or if it was directed at one of the commissioners, and so I wanted to pass it off to the one who made the motion.
Well, I guess my point is that this being an organizational meeting for the year, being that this is a way to do business in the coming year, and actually I had an item too that I wanted to bring up, and I'm just asking, is it inappropriate to bring up items today to be voted on that are not on the agenda?
I don't think it would be inappropriate so long as it's related to the topic of the organization of the board.
All right, thank you.
So, Commissioner Meisner, in keeping with Commissioner Jepson's comments, are you okay with us committing to bringing this to a workshop and ironing out the details at some date certain in the future, as opposed to incorporating it here today? Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, and actually you are absolutely correct. This is not the perfect place for it, but then to Commissioner Reinhardt just said, though, I do know the structure of our meetings, and I can't really just bring up something that is not on the agenda, so this seemed like the best fit for it. To answer your question, yes, Mr. Chair, as long as we actually do it, I am fine with further discussion with everybody.
So will you withdraw your friendly?
Oh, yes, I withdraw my friendly amendment to be held later at a work session.
And the
Withdraw my second.
Okay, so we're back to the original resolution here. 2023-2 relating to the designation of public meeting notice facility. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item 10, consider resolution 2023-3, resolution identifying Anoka County local officials. See the attached resolution there. Is there an offer of the resolution?
Mr. Chair, I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just clarification, because this is just us following statute. I mean, the list here.
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, so for item number 10, a resolution identifying Anoka County local officials with no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Item number 11, consider resolution 2023-4, resolution establishing County Board of Appeal and Equalization. You'll see the attached resolution there. Is there an offer of the resolution?
Mr. Chair, oh,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I would move to adopt resolution number 2023-4.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Reinert. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution passes. Item 12, consider resolution 2023-5, resolution adopting hearing officers. See the attached.
So offered, Mr. Chair.
The resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Item number 13, consider resolution 2023-6, resolution concerning employer contribution toward medical insurance coverage for retirees.
I'll offer the resolution.
An offer of the resolution by Commissioner Gamache. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Moving right along, item number 14, consider resolution 2023-7, resolution awarding bid of publication of the Anoka County financial statement and the official proceedings of the Anoka County Board. See the attached resolution and bid tabulation. Is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer it.
Offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. Item number 15, consider appointments by the county board to the following metro boards, commissions, and committees for program year 2023.
Okay, we gotta wait just a second. Hold on, do you want me to take one? I'll start with that.
Give everyone a few minutes to look this over.
No, oh, just on this one. Yeah, the one, no, don't need to on that one.
Just a regular vote.
Yeah, no, some of them are chair, you don't need to vote.
Yep,
Some-
yep.
Okay, all right,
I got it.
so this is different than what's here. 2022.
Okay, trust everyone's had enough time to look it over. Item 15, which is Metro Boards, Commissions, and Committees. Is there a vote to approve those appointments?
Chair.
By Commissioner Schulte, seconded by Commissioner Brasted. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify,
Oh, sir, sorry.
I'm sorry,
I have a question.
yes, Commissioner Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if memory serves, there previously have been 3 commissioners on JLEC, and I only see 2. Is that an intentional change? No? There's always been 2? Oh, okay.
Sure, as a longtime member of JLEC, even when I was on the Coon Rapids City Council, there's always only been 2 county board members.
Okay.
But we also have the county attorney and the county sheriff, as well as some ad hoc members that join in the emergency manager, Terry Stolzman.
Okay.
But only 2 elected commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 16 is appointments by the board chair. This is for informational purposes only. No votes required on that one. Item 17 is also appointments by the board chair for informational purposes only. Item 18 is county board recommendations for other boards and committees. You'll see those listed there. Is there a motion to approve item 18?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Brasted. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Moving on to item number 19, which is consider the county board appointments to the Anoka County Regional Rail Authority for program year 2023. All commissioners sit on that authority. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte, second by Commissioner Brasted. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item 20, consider county board appointments for the following community consortiums. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Brasted. Second. Jepson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 21 is consider county board appointments related to the Association of Minnesota Counties, otherwise known as AMC. So this will be a motion for A through D. Break those out.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion by Commissioner Schulte,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gamache. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That motion passes as well. Item 22, consider county board appointments for voting delegates to the National Association of Counties, NACO Annual Conference for 2023. Those there, is there a vote to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Reinert. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 23, recommended county board appointments for the Anoka County Housing and Redevelopment Authority with terms expiring. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Brasted. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Any discussion? I believe everyone's years on there are correct. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item number 24, considering the following appointments to the Anoka County Canvassing Board through December 31st, 2023 pursuant to Minnesota Statute 204C-31. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gamache.
With a question.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Schulte. Commissioner Gamache.
I don't know if, I could be totally wrong on this, but I seem to remember that at one point in time, in one year, we had 3. And I was just wondering if that's statute, or is 2 what we've always done? For some reason, I remember 3 at one point in time.
I'm failing to recall. Rhonda Silveraja.
Mr. Chairman, we had an alternate in the
Maybe that was
past.
it. So, Mr. Chair, Schulte and Brasted, Commissioner Schultes and Brasted are the main, and then we have somebody that serves as the alternate.
We have not identified an alternate on
Okay.
here. If it's
That was the third, okay.
will of the board, we can certainly identify.
Mr. Chair, that alternate would have to be somebody who's not up for election
Right.
in 2024, which would be either Commissioner Look or Commissioner Reinert as alternate.
Commissioner Reiner, would you like to serve as an alternate for the canvassing board?
I accept.
So a friendly amendment then,
I'll second.
okay? So we'll have 3 names on there then. And any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The amendment passes. And now we'll go to item number 24 for the 3 names for the 2023 Nauka County Canvassing Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item number 25, consider resolution 2023-8 relating to the appointment of county agricultural inspector. And I believe the resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes. Item number 26, committee appointments. Under A, consider appointing Ham Lake Mayor Brian Kirkham and reappointing Andover Mayor Sherry Bukala to the Joint Law Enforcement Council for a 1-year term expiring January 2024, as recommended by Sheriff Wise pursuant to the Joint Law Enforcement Council Agreement Contract 2008-0279.
So moved.
There's a motion.
Second.
And a second. Motion by Commissioner Ganesh, second by Commissioner Brasted. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Okay, that brings us to our additional board agenda, which is,
Mr. Chair?
yes,
I would like to, at this point, I guess, offer a resolution, but a little description first. What I'd like to do is put into motion the board having a regularly monthly scheduled work session or workshop, whatever you want to call it. And of course, you and I have talked about this in that it would be a scheduled workshop on a monthly basis to keep kind of a cadence going of, actually for commissioners to, follow along a little bit easier as far as items they'd like to talk about. A lot of times what happens is we probably have 5 or 6 workshops right now. And what happens a lot of times is workshops are created with a specific purpose and a specific agenda. And a lot of times there's not room to put additional things on, and there are things that, sometimes commissioners want to talk about. And so what I would suggest is that we have this cadence of workshops that are throughout the year. We've also talked, though, that, possibly if there's nothing coming up on let's say, July or August or whatever month, there's not enough agenda items to have that workshop, and there's time sensitivity to those items that we then push them to the next month. It's not, something necessary to have every month if we don't need to, in the interest of saving staff time and everything else. But everything I've ever done, every business I've ever had, there's always been a cadence to it, that you have looking forward on the calendar, certain things that happen. And I just think, for me personally, this would help. And I think it would be a good management tool and, I guess, asset for the board to have this on the calendar. And I'd like to make a motion to, I guess, establish that in this organizational meeting that we put on the calendar a monthly workshop.
I'll second that.
motion by Commissioner Reiner, second by Commissioner Gamache. Further discussion, Commissioner Schulte.
Mr. Chair, I'm not at all opposed to what Commissioner Reinert has brought forward, maybe just opposed to the process and how it got here. Only because in the resolutions that we passed earlier today, for any commissioner to bring anything before the board in resolution or motion fashion, it has to be in writing, and it has to be presented to everybody at the same time. Just kind of concerned that we're not following procedure Not that I disagree with the motion. It's just that I think we could have sneak attacks all day long, not that this is a sneak attack, but we could have all day long people with with ill-thought ideas come before the board at a random moment. And I think this policy is in place for a reason, and I think that having it come in written fashion before the board at our next meeting, I think would be just fine, and I'd be more than happy to support it.
Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I definitely support this motion. As you guys know, I'm all about more discussion, not less. So I definitely support this. I hear what you're saying, Commissioner Schulte, but the thing is too, then we end up getting hung up on technicalities and then nothing quite seems to move forward. So I'm not sure what exactly the answer is. Ideally, I hear what you're saying, but I am going to be supporting this. I don't know where else we could plug it in. And to your point, the catch-22 is we don't have enough work sessions, and there's protocols for that in order to actually improve or change policy. So then it doesn't happen. So when are we going to make it happen? Let's make it happen.
So, County Attorney Johnson, this is one way of getting this accomplished. Would another way be to direct staff to schedule a meeting every month for work sessions?
Right, you could have it to be determined by staff or by the county administrator to schedule the meeting. But other commissioners might want to weigh into the time, place, and circumstances on that.
Commissioner Reiner.
Yeah, okay, to your point, Commissioner Schulte, point well made. Probably would have been the better procedure for me to have put it in writing ahead of time. Actually, I didn't know that would have been the procedure to do that and get it on the agenda. Possibly if, during the organizational meeting, it might be a good idea for the administrator to send out a message to all the commissioners to say, hey, if you want to put something on the agenda, this is the procedure for that. To your point, Attorney Johnson, it's fine to have, staff create that and put it on. Kind of in the back of our minds, we're kind of hoping to have, something every month. I would rather have it on the calendar and then have staff say, let's take it off, rather than have the idea of a monthly workshop and then have to create it. So if it's on the calendar, it's on the calendar. We all know it's on the calendar when it is. But if there's not enough to talk about, then I certainly am for, pushing items to the next month or canceling the meeting. Like I said, I think we have 5 or 6, maybe 7 workshops now. If we take into consideration that a couple workshops would be canceled throughout the year, I mean, we're really going from, maybe 6 or 7 to 9 or 10. I mean, it's not that much more as far as a burden on everyone to, have opportunity to discuss more.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just to clarify my remarks, I'm just simply suggesting that the regular date, whether it's the third Tuesday or the third Wednesday of every month, is something that other commissioners might want to weigh into. And how we pick that, you haven't offered that as a part of the motion or resolution. So there's some things, some finer details that may need to be worked out, but certainly it's something that could be done.
Commissioner Reiner.
Completely flexible on that point. Yeah.
Commissioner Schulte.
Mr. Chair, I will vote against this only because of the procedure that it was brought forward. I do support the idea. I do support the work sessions, timely, monthly, however it works out, in full support, but I will go on record voting against this because item number 1 in the resolutions that we adopted for establishment of rules and procedures clearly says that it should be presented in writing.
I could write it out quickly.
So, Commissioner Reiner, would you be willing to, similarly the way we're going to be discussing Commissioner Meiser's topic, discuss at the next work session to iron out the details in the interest of keeping our procedures intact here?
Fair enough. Yeah, let's put it on. Item number 1 on our next agenda.
Maybe item 1 or 2, but okay. So are you withdrawing your motion?
In the interest of, keeping it clean, I guess, and I guess I should have offered this in writing. I didn't. Yeah, that's fine. I'll withdraw. in the interest of having it on the next agenda that we meet. If that's the arrangement, then yes, I'll withdraw.
And the seconder,
I will withdraw my second with a question before I do. That means at our next board meeting, which is 2 weeks from today, we will have this on the agenda. Is that correct?
could be the next board meeting or the next work session
Okay.
that we have.
Well, let's have it at the next board meeting.
Okay, there's a request for the next board meeting. Commissioner Meisner?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I was just going to say, if this was coming before a work session, it would be item number 2, Commissioner Minor.
Okay, all right. So that is withdrawn, but I just kind of sampling everyone's kind of impression of it. I think everyone's probably very much in favor of looking into this, so.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we have an additional board agenda before us here, which is in the interest of public comment, is to consider approving holding a meeting immediately following the adjournment of each county board meeting beginning January 24th, where the board takes public comment. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes for each person for up to 10 minutes or longer as needed at the discretion of the chair. And I'll just read this for the benefit of the public, those watching online and may not have a copy of this. Again, the action request is considered approving holding a meeting immediately following the adjournment of each county board meeting beginning January 24th, 2023, where the board takes public comment. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes for each person for up to 10 minutes or longer as needed at the discretion of the chair. Public comment meeting. This meeting provides a time for members of the public to approach the county board and comment, ask questions, present a concern, or make a statement specifically related to county business that is not already on the agenda that day. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes and will be informed by the chair when their time is concluded. The chair will advise the audience of the time limit when opening the public comment meeting. The speaker will be asked to come to the podium set up for that purpose, state his or her name and address, and give his or her statement, question, or concern. County board members may speak briefly to an item for the purposes of asking clarification, providing additional pertinent information, or responding to questions raised by the speaker or another county board member. The chair will explain to the speaker that the statement, question, or concern will be referred to the county staff for review, and then a report will be sent to the speaker prior to the next regular scheduled board meeting. It is recognized that not all issues may be resolved at or prior to the next county board meeting, but the speaker will be informed of the progress on the issue prior to the next meeting. Staff will draft a response to be submitted as part of the next county public comment meeting. This is to bring the other commissioners up to speed. The speaker will be provided a copy of the report and any subsequent reports until the matter is resolved. Speakers are prohibited from engaging in personal attacks on county board members, staff, or member of the public. Should this occur, the presiding officer will inform the speaker his/her opportunity to address the county board has been relinquished, and the person must leave the podium. This meeting will not be live streamed or televised. Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gamache. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Reiner. Discussion. Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I think this is a good start towards what I would prefer. It's not exactly perfect, but I like the idea. I think this is a good opportunity for us to try this out, feel it out. I guess I have a couple questions regarding just some details as far as timing. I know a lot of times we'll have an HRA meeting, a rail authority meeting. Just some ideas as to how we plan on working with that, so make sure that we don't run too long, because I saw the 2 minutes to 10 minutes possibly, and I'm thinking, okay, how long is this gonna go? So as maybe this is to the administrator, what are the plans for how we lay this out to say, here's gonna be our breakdown in the time from, we have a 9:30 board meeting, at 11 o'clock we do this, and then where do we go from there?
Administrator Savraja.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Gamache. So each member of the public would have up to 2 minutes as identified, and it would be scheduled for a total of 10 minutes or longer if needed. It would happen immediately following the county board meeting. The HRA and Regional Rail Authority meetings would be scheduled to occur immediately following the adjournment of the public comment meeting. And typically what we do is we'll schedule it, we'll say like 10:15 or immediately following, whichever is later.
Okay.
Yes, follow up?
Follow up to, just to get the clarification, because it says here, public comment will be limited to 2 minutes for each person for up to 10 minutes or longer. So the full 10 minutes is the full meeting, or could someone go 10 minutes?
No,
Okay,
2 minutes per person.
okay, is that
Oh,
clear? I'm not, just for the county attorney maybe, is that, do we have that clear enough?
I had a similar question, but
Okay.
2 minutes for each person for up to, and we could just change it to be a total of 10 minutes for the meeting or longer. Just for that clarification.
Commissioner Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for asking those questions. They were some of the similar ones that I had. Regarding timing, I'm concerned about having it be after the meeting, after the meeting's been adjourned. So what's to prevent or encourage commissioners to stay put if the meeting has been adjourned? Another question is, so an individual who wants to make a comment, a public comment, has to sit through the entire county board meeting and then make comments. Where at city councils, we always had public comments at the beginning, so the public could make their comment and then leave if they're not interested in sitting through the whole board meeting. My other concern is that it's not going to be live streamed or televised. I think it should just be a continuation of the actual board meeting, having it live streamed and televised for full transparency, and so that others who are watching the conversation, who may also have the same questions or concerns, can also get their, if there's answers being given at that morning, can also have those questions and concerns addressed too.
Commissioner Meisner.
thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Commissioner Jepson. So those points, well, actually, and thanks for the clarification, because the way that I was reading the talk time was completely different than what is intended. And I completely agree with Commissioner Jepson's comments. So, and especially too, to come before the board meeting, so that's the agenda. The public wants to voice their question or concern about what's on the agenda. So the 7 of us can listen to that and possibly, you know, be inspired or change our minds or whatever that might look like. But if we're doing it after the meeting, it's a moot point for the public, right? So the meeting's done, and agendas can change between the 2-week space time. So that just doesn't make sense to me. And I 100% agree for transparency, which this board always talks about. We should be having this live streamed and televised. There's no reason not to.
Before I go to Commissioner Reinert, I'm going to respond to a couple of the questions. First of all, this is modeled after Coon Rapids and what they're currently doing. Secondly, the reason for the non-televised is that this is not an opportunity to grandstand. If the public wants to speak to this board, they can speak to this board. They're not speaking to the public. They're speaking to this board. If they wish to speak to the public, there are other avenues for doing that, such as letter to the editor, Facebook, Twitter, whatever your avenue may be. As far as the inspiration comment, this would be on a topic not already on the agenda. So it would be unrelated to whatever agenda, so we would not necessarily be inspired to change a vote or whatever on the agenda. As to the point of having to wait through a meeting, they can come toward the end of the meeting too. That's up to them. But certainly it's a step forward in terms of, I think a lot of us have come from city councils. 6 of the 7 of us have come from city councils. We're not unfamiliar with public comment. I don't think anyone's afraid of public comment. It just wasn't, since I've been here for 12 years, it's not been something the county board has done. We've been readily available via cell phone, telephone, email, Facebook, whatever the case is. People run into us out in public. We're readily available. This is one more option to speak to us, and I don't think it's a bad option. But we can take that certainly under advisement, and then the reporting afterwards. I appreciated that part because That way, the rest of the county board members have the information that staff has generated in case they have any further questions on that. Commissioner Reiner.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to suggest a couple of things. So this has been a topic of debate since I got here just about 3 years ago. And there are probably 25 different ways that you can accomplish having public comment. And so we do have something in front of us that I think Commissioner Gamache said it's a good start. And it's actually the reason why I had mentioned and moved that we have monthly workshops, because there are a lot of topics that people want to discuss. This is one of them. So I guess what I'm going to suggest is that we could sit here for the next 45 minutes and maybe still not agree and get anywhere on this. So what I'd suggest is that we have something in front of us that is, I think, properly defined as a good start. And why don't we then take this conversation to one of the upcoming work sessions that we'll have, or workshops that we'll have, and have more discussion on it then, and maybe we can come to some resolution on, maybe what to amend on what's been passed then today.
If it passes, yes.
If it passes,
Jepsen.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do agree. It's a great start. I'm proud that my very first meeting, this is on the agenda, and it's something that I can support. However, I will go back to removing the word "not" in that very last statement about being live streamed or televised. I, more than some of you, very recently understand grandstanding during council meetings. It's ugly, it's unnecessary, and it's not fun at all. But I think rather than preparing for that and anticipating that and creating something because of the potential of that, I don't agree with. I think we should expect the public to act as adults. And then if it's something that we are proven wrong on, we can always add it after the fact.
Commissioner Meisner and then Commissioner Schulte.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I hope that you will consider that, Mr. Chair, to take out the word "not," or at the very least, just take out that sentence, and then we can maybe firm that up at a later date. And then as far as the grandstanding, I mean, we took care of that by having that 2-minute maximum. So, I mean, even if someone is upset, 2 minute, I mean, this is part of our job. We can't just take all the credit when things are going well. If things aren't going well, according to the public, then that's part of our job is to listen to that. So I don't know. I agree with you. The whole grandstanding thing isn't fun, but that's just part of our job, and we should accept that along with everything else. So I don't know. Would you consider taking out the meeting will not be live streamed or televised?
I've given a lot of thought to this. I think what you find is during campaign seasons, all of a sudden there's a lot of public commenters that want to get airtime, want to, pretty much promote their campaign. And I think, just to draw on Coon Rapids, the example of Coon Rapids, I think there were 2 regular attenders that took a lot of shots at a lot of people for reasons that were just somewhat disruptive. And so it's, I think that my suggestion is we try this and see how it works, see if there's any pushback at that point, and then to Commissioner Reinert's point, we can come back, we can change anything on this at any point. We have that ability. So, yes, Commissioner Schulte, sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm not opposed to public comment. I lived through it at Coon Rapids in some really dark days. Unfortunately, one of our staff members almost didn't live through it because of the public comment, and that was hard to deal with. Publicly, politically, it's hard to deal with somebody almost taking their own life because of public comments. And we're signed up for this. We got elected. Those staff members are not elected. They're doing a job, it's a career. And for people to have the ability to stand at a podium, publicly televised or live streamed, and take shots at staff, and you can't stop them in an instant. You can pound the gavel and they'll talk right over you. Now, I'm opposed to definitely live streaming. I'm opposed to televising. And I'm actually opposed to public comment in that venue. We take it now. We take it at every committee meeting. We have lots of public comment opportunity. I'm on the busiest corner in Anoka County on Hanson and Coon Rapids Boulevard every day of my life. People can come and talk to me every day. I'm 100% available. That's public comment. Getting in front of a microphone and saying it to the public is not what it's designed for, but that's what it'll be used for. I'm opposed to taking the one word out, and I'm opposed to the entire additional item for those reasons.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of it as written signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
We have 2 in opposition, Commissioner Schulte and Commissioner Brasted, and that motion passes. Thank you for that. I think that brings us to the end of our organizational meeting. I'm looking for the head nod. Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us, and we are running a little bit late on our next meeting, but I want to thank you for being here, and we will stand adjourned. Thank you.